Hi, my name is Lewars. I'm principal and founder of Kaiker Development and Construction. We are a community-based development and construction management firm building for the people of the community as well as the businesses of the community. I started the company in 2015. My background's construction engineering management and business management. So really just wanted to find a place for room for growth in my career and an opportunity to invest for future generations. And fortunately enough, Cincinnati was the place. I didn't imagine at the time that it would be home, but now Cincinnati's home for sure. I love the culture, the community. My family, 3 kids, we're all integrated here. But I moved here for development opportunities. I purchased 4 properties prior to moving here full time. I flew out here once a month just to operate those topically, hiring a local GC. And the more I came out, the more opportunity I saw, the more I was willing to just put it on the line and just take the risk of seeing if I could make it out here and really provide not only for myself as I was through my career employment, but just future generations and really diving in deep and investing. So fortunately, I was able to do that. But as many people go through in their careers and entrepreneurship, you hit different obstacles and red tape. So regardless of how much there was a need for developers or contractors like myself, it was just trying to navigate who's who, what's what, our product type, and things of that sort. I focused on my developments first. I did some owner's rep work for other out-of-town developers or investors for a little bit. I actually worked for another boutique development firm that focused in commercial and industrial development and construction management services as their second PM for about 4.5 years during my time here, putting my stuff on hiatus. And through growing my ecosystem or network locally, I was fortunate enough to connect with the right people in multiple aspects of this development and CM spectrum to basically implement my dreams, my visions, and what I was trying to do here at Kaiker Development and Construction. So now, full service development and CM shop with a team of about 15 professionals, ranging from trades professionals as carpenters to project engineers and project managers on the construction side. So I was introduced to Queen City developers through the Port Authority of Cincinnati. Jilson Daniels, great guy, a director over there. He had this wonderful idea to just be more inclusive, but from an equity perspective, and create this group of developers to give them, some networking opportunities, access to capital, as well as just a safe space to collaborate with others, like-minded professionals, once again, in the development world here in Cincinnati. So really just worked with Jilson, and I've been on those calls on a monthly basis as we continue to curate the group and just make it all come together. The thing I love about the Real program is it's a full spectrum of people in the industry. So you have entry-level professionals to industry execs, CEOs, directors, but we're all in one room collaborating, working as a team to navigate the development process to further the communities we live, work, and play in. So for me, I was able to give back now as a mentor to 2 classes of mentees, and now I'm going to be on my 3rd. Ironically enough, my 3rd mentee is actually a current client that we're facilitating owner's rep services for through our development services. So it's going to be a nice engagement to further engage now, a little less transactional, but really diving deep and understanding where I can create value and just help him overcome obstacles that I once faced and obstacles that I may have never faced, but I may be able to point him in the right direction or connect him with the right people. Zola's happy to be here, a wonderful woman-owned, African-American-owned business, very well respected in this community. She's done this before. This is just her new location in Avondale Town Center. We got pulled into this project actually as it was partially started. Things were framed up, MEPs had begun, but they just couldn't drive it to completion. So really our team, we came in with our construction management services. We really worked with their design team to kind of peel back the design process a little bit, dive in deep, make sure all permits and engineering changes were up to date. And then from there, drive it to completion and make sure she was open. to entertain and feed the community with her wonderful restaurant and bar mornings. But being patient is key in the development process. Some things, quite frankly, are just outside of your control. So relative to the other aspects of the business, I think I'm quite grateful just based on my work history and experience. When it comes to like a lot of the obstacles that you face on the construction side, the projects that we took on in my career have been much more complex than the projects that I've taken on currently. We are focusing on a mid-market sector of community development, really supporting the people and the businesses of the communities that we, once again, live, work, and play in. So patience was key for me because some things like when you're growing a business organically, especially when it's a single person operator, you can't play head of marketing, head of accounting, head of operations, head of development all at one time. So sometimes it's just like trusting the process, diving deep, doing some things on the back end before you introduce team members or outside consultants or contractors, and then just being diligent and executing it to the nth degree, knowing that now, you don't have a boss, your boss is your clients and or your employees, so just submitting to the process, understanding the process, but like being patient, but still pushing the ball to make progress every day in all those different directions. I think that was like the biggest thing for me.
Hi, my name is Felicia Bell, real estate professional here in the city of Cincinnati. I work on rehabs. I am a housing provider. I'm a salesperson with the 3CRE residential and commercial sales. And I love real estate. So my journey started 30 days after I left corporate America. And basically, I just went to a class. I went to a class thinking it was about financial management. I didn't read the small print. And so get in the class and discover that it was all about investing in real estate. And it was during that class, during that session, that I got the epiphany that this is what I was supposed to be doing. And from that day on January 16th, 2016, after that class, I took another class and another class. I met a mentor. Actually, it was a mentor online who we had a lot in common. We worked at P&G at the same time, didn't know each other at P&G while we were both there, but met. And he became my mentor, taught me everything I knew at the time. And I began 6 months later with my license as a real estate salesperson. And in month 7, I bought my first property, and I just continued to buy properties and build that portfolio. Education is a huge part of being in real estate and the learning process and the building Black wealth process. And so I encourage anyone who is interested in real estate to ensure that they invest heavily in the education, because it is with great education that you get great results. If I had to do it all over again, I would focus on mastering one strategy at a time. So, a strategy, for example, is being a housing provider or a landlord. Another strategy is rehabbing or redeveloping properties. A third strategy is creative financing strategies. So, I would have focused on the mastery, and because what happens is you create this toolbox of skills, and with that toolbox of skills, as opportunities present themselves, you just jump on them, right? You just jump on them, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but mastery is really where you can build the most money, right? So going into, having multiple properties, because that's your focus. And so I do have multiple properties, but it hasn't been a focus. So I just think when you focus on one strategy, you build, you master, you make a lot of money, and then you move on to the next strategy. So that's what I would have done differently. But I've made the best of where we are, and I'm still having a lot of fun. So now I'm building mastery in other areas.
What are some of those other areas?
Sales, residential sales. So I love helping people realize their dreams of homeownership. I love helping people realize their dreams of building a home. And I love helping people realize their dreams of buying their second properties. Each type of client brings along a different challenge for me. And it's all a part of building wealth. So I don't talk to my clients about just buying a home. I talk to my clients about building wealth and leveraging their home in order to do that. It's a different conversation. And so I've really been able to see a lot of success with my clients as I've been in the business long enough now to see them buying their second home or building their second or third home. So it has been awesome. It's not about the money, even though I'm not independently wealthy, I can't do this for free, not yet. But it is about seeing people succeed, and that's what drives me to get up and do this again every single day. This space is the home of my parents. They owned this property for over 36 years. Came to a point where it just was too much, as many older people in our communities face similar challenges. So I was able to move them into a property that was smaller and more suitable for them, a property that I already owned. And then I came into this property and completely cleaned it out and upgraded the property. As you can see here, it is still a work in progress, but I feel very proud to have been able to know what to do, know how to do it, come in and give it just what this house needed. So I came in, we upgraded the electrical, we upgraded all the flooring, painted the whole house, cleaned it out, and now this home will become a part of our family legacy, as we didn't have to sell it in order to get my parents put into another situation.
And what's been the journey of preserving your parents' home while also trying to preserve the memories that you have from the space?
That's a good question. Preserving the memories is something that as a community we do very well, because often you come, we gather, we love on each other. What we don't do as well is preserve the house so that the house can become a part of the family's legacy and a part of the generational wealth that our community so desperately needs. And so having the know-how has been a part of the journey, the education, having the contractors and the relationships to come and get the work done. This is probably the longest project I've worked on because of all of the memories and emotions attached to it. Because I moved here, we moved here when I was 16, 17 years old. And now here we are, and my mom is deceased. And preserving this memory, preserving this legacy has been very emotional. But as you can see, it's coming along nicely, and we're having a good time getting it done. And we will continue to build wealth by renting this out to a family who is deserving.
Monopoly Man in one sentence, I will say, if I had to pitch us, I would, I would say that Monopoly Man does really well at turning ideas into addresses. I think the biggest thing, the reason why we got into development and pivoted from our retail, what we call real estate agent work, is I read a book called The People's Principles about a brother out in DC named Don Peebles, who just so happened to be the largest black developer in the United States and has been this entire time. And I never heard about this guy, right? I think the reason why we love conferences and love the power of people telling their stories is because it lets us know that we have representation in different spaces, right? I remember being young and hearing I don't know, Eric B and Rakim rap over a song, and I'm like, oh, I want to be a rapper, right? Or hearing or seeing MJ shoot a jump shot, and it's like, oh, I want to play basketball. That was a representation we had. Black folks, we always have had that representation in athletics and entertainment, right? Sports and whatnot. But I never knew anyone who developed raw land. We didn't have that representation. And I read this book about this guy named Don Peebles who started off in DC, and under Marion Barry, first project he gets, he becomes an overnight millionaire. And now he's built one of the largest, I mean, not just black owned, but one of the largest development firms in the country. And I thought, wow, okay, I can't really shoot a jump shot that good. The rhymes is all right, but they ain't Eric B and Rakim type. But I do understand real estate. I do understand construction. I get the numbers of real estate. I get the profitability of this industry and how you can scale this industry. And that made me want to get into development. I mean, honestly, from Don Peebles to watching an interview with a guy by the name of Brandon Rule, who's out in Minneapolis, I believe, and seeing those people and how they represented us, and they were actually building spaces for us, right? Like Brandon Rule is someone who built an affordable housing complex in his hood. Like, these are things we dreamed of, you know what I mean? Is being able to come back to the hoods that we grew up from and being able to provide housing, right? Or being the black-owned developer who develops a space that would last for years to come, building office buildings and things like that. And so once I saw that representation, and I saw that example, I'm like, yeah, we're pivoting. I gotta have it, right? We gotta be in that space, and thank God that we were able to do so. Thank God that I was in a position to where I can pivot, take a step back from, earning as much as we were earning, right? Because as you start a new business, you're gonna take a reduction in income, And I was able to do that, right? Because we were established, and now we learned development, and now we're up and running, and we have over $6-7 million in our pipeline for our development projects, and we're blessed to be here. I don't come from a family of developers and entrepreneurs and, a bunch of people who scale businesses. That's, just not my reality. And I think that one of the most difficult challenges is trying to figure out what you don't know. Knowing what you don't know, right? And asking those right questions, because it's one thing to have the reputation, but with that reputation comes the opportunity to scale. But when your business grows faster than your systems, you get another different challenge that you weren't expecting a part of that, right? And so I think one of the biggest challenges is as being a minority, owned company and not having examples that I watched growing up or I learned in college. You're talking to somebody who never went to college, had we'll call them average grades in high school, right? You're talking to someone who didn't, I'm not likely to be an entrepreneur because that wasn't my setup. When you have someone like that, there's a lot of unknowns when you start to scale, and you don't know how to hire a team. You don't know who you need to do this task. And you have to learn that over time and over failing and over making mistakes and being stressed out and being overwhelmed. Now, because I have my 10,000 hours now, right, I get it, but I'm still learning every day, but I get it now. And so I think that was the biggest challenge is trying to figure out what I don't know, figuring out who has the right answers for what I don't know, and then figuring out what type of team that do I actually need to build, and at what point in my business do I actually need to focus on building that team. So that was one of the biggest struggles that I think everyone is going to face when they get into this business.
So what brings me the joy doing this is to see the family that will come and live in here after we've finished everything. So, I've done this, like the house across the street, we did it. And then while working on this project, I always look at the people that goes there and then trying to have others come to my house. So I'm like, the joy is really unexplainable. I can't explain that joy. We do this, but to see people raising their family in this and then starting their family in this, it's just something that I can't match it with anything in the world. You can't take this from me. You can take the company, but the joy that I have, I can't describe it, you know. So that's what brings me the joy, is to see the people living in here, raising their family, and, you know, hope for the future. So yeah. The way I came up with the name of the company is actually, first, Zoe is the name of my firstborn. And then one time I was talking to Tiffany. She asked a question really resonate with me. She said, "How will your grandchildren remember you?" So I was like, "Wow, that's a deep question." And then deep inside, I knew I had to come up with something that really will help my grandchildren to remember me. That's how I came up with Zoe Construction, because that my firstborn, and then he would take this one day and then pass it on. Process of learning. Actually, I've been fortunate enough to be in the greater Cincinnati area, because Cincinnati is a very, very welcoming city. And, you know, having people like Council Member Reggie Harris, having like John Michel, Eric Kenya, the Chamber, African American Chamber of Commerce, really everybody that you come across, they always welcome. They put you in front of opportunity, and then they push you like, you can do this. So our journey has been really having access to the right information, you know, and then we have really people that make sure if they can't answer those questions, they guide you to where you can have the right information and use it and leverage it to have solution to our problem. Let's say I wanted to get into this. I was having some issues to get in front of some people where I can show like we can do this, but I just had to pick up my phone and then call somebody like, "Hey, I need this. Can you help me meet this person?" Because I feel like if I'm in front of them, I can show them like I'm doing this, you know. And then really having conversation with people that are already in this space. You know, I've met with Darren Hall, you know, just having that conversation. And then you don't really realize the small nuggets that they may pinch into you in the conversation, help you to have the gold bar, you know. So that's really has been my journey, is having access to people who have the right information.
I am so delighted to be the president and CEO of Emerge Manufacturing. It was really many, many months that we looked for the right site to build this phenomenal building. And then I had the opportunity to meet or reacquaint myself with Laura Bruner. Laura Bruner is the president and CEO of the Port Authority. And she asked me this simple question: "Cynthia, have you found the right location for the building that you are wanting to build?" And I said to her, "No, actually I have not. My journey would have been a little bit easier had I found it sooner." She said, "You know, I have some land that the port owns that perhaps you might be interested in viewing." So my real estate broker and I, J.R. Foster, came to this site. And I knew when we pulled up in front of this site that this was going to be the future home of Emerge Manufacturing. So I walked the land, all 6 acres. And as I was walking the land, I knew that God had sent me here for a reason and for his purpose. Because see, I'm just his vessel here to do his work. And his work is to provide jobs and to provide products that help to protect and save lives. So I told JR, "I'm going to buy this land." He said, "You are?" And I said, "I am." I said, "So let's draw up a contract and let's see if we can't get it done." And I'm so proud that we got it done. And so for that reason, I will forever be indebted to the Port Authority, to the City of Cincinnati, and to my real estate broker, who was so patient with me as we worked hard to just find the right location. So I'm a former banker, and I knew going into this that the journey would not always be easy, and that there would be roadblocks along the way. But nothing was going to deter me from what I knew my vision was calling me to do. So we started off by finding the right architect. And when I shared with them what my vision was, they quickly absorbed it. And then the next thing was to make sure that I brought some talent around me that would just help me take the vision and cultivate it to become what I know it is today. So we partnered with Nair Properties. Dan Nair's the president. Jeff Shamit was my partner. And we began to work on what this building was ultimately going to be. And then we needed to find the builder, and that's Messer Construction. But there's one thing that I told the builder, is that when I come on this land, I need to make sure that I see some people that look like me. And that means women and people of color. I am so delighted that we have hosted this conference, really spearheaded by our councilman, Reggie Harris, for his vision to launch something that really highlights what Black and brown people can do in a community as it relates to economic development. Because you see, building a building is more than just turning the dirt, laying the concrete. It is about making change happen in a community that perhaps just needs a boost of reality that change can happen. I believe that this conference will plant the seed for those that are thinking about going into development to take that step. The step won't be easy, but the step can be possible. And I encourage you to make sure that you put a team together that can work with you to make your dream come true. I urge you to be prepared and not to give up, because no one wins when they give up. They only win when they keep going.